What up? This is Matt with GearZombie, and today we're gonna change tubes in the old 5150. GearZombie. So in this video, we're gonna show you the process of swapping the tubes out of this 5150. Be sure to stay till the end because we're going to listen to audio from before the tube swap and after the tube swap and see if we can tell any significant difference. All right, before we change these out, just a quick backstory. I found this guy in a musical round up around the Twin Cities. It's probably been about a year now. So I find one, it's cheap, had this cool mirrored front. I kind of dug it. Home with me it came. So I tried it out there and it sounded pretty good. So I looked to see what it had for tubes. The preamp tubes aren't marked. The power amp tubes are groove tubes, not my favorite tubes in the world, so let's order some JJs. I'd always used JJs before. Either way, I don't know what's in there, so we're gonna swap them out. See what difference the tubes make. So I'm gonna power this off and let these tubes cool down, and then we're gonna take it apart. Okay, we've had this powered off for a while, so all the tubes are cooled down. And now we're gonna get inside here. Before we go any farther, if you're not familiar with this stuff, you need to be very careful. Now on this particular amp, we don't have a lot of exposed circuitry. If I pulled the entire head out of the chassis, then you would have a bunch of capacitors in the exposed printed circuit board, and you have to be very careful about touching anything in there because all that stores electricity, and if you touch it, like death electricity. If you get your fingers in there and you touch things that you're not supposed to, lights out, game over, no respawn. I'd hate for somebody to watch a video like this and start noodling in something and light themselves up. Now, in this particular case, we're pretty safe. There's not a whole lot that we can get into, but a couple things I want to point out. This is going to be easy peasy because we don't have to bias the amp. What does biasing mean? Basically, biasing is adjusting the amount of voltage that goes to the power tubes. If you give it too much voltage or run it too hot, it makes everything distorted and saturated all the time. If you run it too cold, then it's gonna run kind of flat and stale. So different amps have different specs for what the biases are supposed to be. Some amps you will actually have a couple of ports that you can hook a voltmeter up to, and you can regulate the voltage and you can adjust the bias. The 5150, however, no BS, we just swap tubes. With this, we got our preamp tubes behind this door. You can see our power amp tubes behind this grill. So let's take this apart real quick. Clearly signed by Eddie Van Halen. I'm sure he signed them all individually. Grill. Always cut away from the body. My daddy taught me that. Here's pretty much the exact moment that this video went off the rails. Here's why. If you want to watch that video, click the card up above. Back to the tube change. If you order your tubes and they show up sounding like shattered Christmas ornaments, that's bad. New tubes. So now we should have a full replacement set for our 5150. So we'll start with our pre-tubes. And you can see that there's a certain pin out. They only go one way. You can also see that these are just unmarked. Don't know what they are. At least this one says 12AX7 and made in China. I just noticed something on these power tubes. Two of these are GT6L6GEs. Two of them are GT6L6CHP. I'll have to look that up and see what that is. Put our new Tung-Sols in place. We're gonna line up the pins. It always makes me nervous pushing on those because that printed circuit board flexes. One more. Okay, all of our preamp tubes are in. Okay, power tubes, same sort of deal. Should clean that out. Look at how filthy that is. And in all honesty, I probably will end up cleaning this out. There's a notch. You there's a notch in the middle there. It will only go in there that way. I don't know if you can see, but if I turn this, we'll eventually dunk, just dunk in there. I don't know if you can see, but they're corroded at the ends. All right, that's all there is to that. Let's plug it back in, we'll turn this on and heat these tubes up. Okay, so let's check out the old tubes versus the new tubes. And I'm just running my guitar direct into my 5150. I'm going out into my Mesa Boogie 212. It's got Celestion Vintage 30s in it. That is in an ISO box. I'm miking it up with an Aston Stealth. And afterwards, I'm doing no post-processing. I did double track it, so one track is panned hard left, one is hard right. But other than that, no compression, no EQ. I just wanted to mention that in case you think it sounds ratty. It kind of does, it's completely dry. So I didn't see that coming. There was almost no difference in between the old tubes and the new tubes. There really wasn't very much difference at all. If I listened to them through the old Mighty Sennheisers and really listen to it, I can hear a difference in the lead channel. I can hear a difference in the clean channel. If you listen to the clean channel track with the old tubes, you will almost hear it kind of compress and squish, which is one of the things that I was noticing on the clean and the rhythm channel. And it doesn't do that anymore with the new tube, so I'm just assuming that these were probably old and one of them was going bad. But interestingly, the character from the Tung-Sols to whatever these are, it's almost nothing. They're almost identical. I'm really surprised how little impact there was on the tone between these different sets of tubes. It also kind of says something about groove tubes, because the JJs, I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I think they were pretty close to half the price of groove tubes. Groove tubes are always really expensive, and I've just pretty much always used JJs, especially for these mid-rangey sort of heads. I've just always preferred them. So if you liked anything I had going on, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little notification bell so you know when I got something coming. Come see me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever. I try to post here at least once a week, so until next time, GearZombie.